85% of people prefer text over email and phone calls because they want to engage in a conversation. All text messaging is not equal. Customers respond to people, not bots. Be more like people and start having conversations that end in conversions. Use Scipio.
Yeah, and really I mean, there's a lot of industries that's like this, but like food is, I guess not all food, but coffee or like alcohol is definitely like this. It's definitely a branding play, and it's how good do you execute it? Because like coffee is coffee, and what's unique about this is like the actual format. But eventually, like people are going to start doing the format, right? And then it's going to be about how do I differentiate on what's in the tea bag. So, then there's additional innovation and creativity in that arena.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about Black Rifle Coffee, and they said it was a really fascinating company in their mind because they're like, that they've kind of like pivoted towards like, what about coffee for like basically Republicans or like, hardcore conservatives? Yeah, essentially, like, and it's like a really interesting. Like, it's just a brand. I mean, for the most part, coffee is coffee with slight differences. Energy drinks, I think, is a similar
energy drinks are the same
play
thing.
where it's where it's like, you're most of it's like packaging it, but I think it's interesting. Like, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I guess I'm not the best. But I don't think I've ever seen coffee in a tea bag. But I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, it's been big in Asia for like 20 or 30 years, actually. Just for whatever reason, I've got some theories. It just never has made it to the U.S. And my goal is, if someone listens to this podcast in 5 years, or if they listen to it now, they'll be like, and then in 5 years, they'll be like, Zach said he was going to make coffee to tea bag big in the U.S. And he said that 5 years ago, and now look where he is.
That's awesome.
That's my goal.
That's our goal too.
I
would love that. Yeah. I would love if we could say we had Zach first.
You're a thief and a liar.
I only lied about being a thief.
Steal.
Lie.
We're gonna steal the ship.
Commandant, Lord Lieutenant.
An idea that is fully formed, fully understood, that sticks.
For someone like you to steal?
Ideas are bulletproof.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. Steal this idea.
Hello again, thieves.
We're back.
We are back. We got a fun episode today.
We do. We are joined by Zach.
Frantz or Frantz? What are you?
France.
Yeah. Zach Frantz, who is an entrepreneur, has a whole bunch of cool ideas in his backlog. Welcome to Steal This Idea, Zach.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Andre. I appreciate you having me.
And we'll talk more about it later in the show. But Zach, plug your website for your coffee company that we'll review later.
Yeah. So the coffee is wildlandcoffee.co.
Perfect. Wildlandcoffee.co.
Yeah. We should if we were smart, we would have asked for some samples that we would have been drinking as we recorded this. But
we're here.
Here we are.
It's also like almost 9:00 at night, so that might not have been the best
probably not
idea.
the best time.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that, but I've watched Andre open up a bang
on the podcast frequently.
Yeah.
Not a good habit.
I think there's a little more caffeine in bang than in most cups of coffee.
Most
cups.
Yeah.
And for those if this is your first time listening, Steal This Idea podcast is the only podcast where every week me, Scott Knudsen, and Andre Washington, we give out $1 million business ideas for you to steal, or we bring on guests with their $1 million business ideas, and we have those ideas for you to steal as well. So Zach, Zach's gonna bring the big guns today. He's focused on coffee, but he's got these ideas that he wish he could. If he had the time or bandwidth, surely he would have started these as well. But before we get into some of that stuff, Andre, let's do a little good idea, bad idea. Okay, Andre, do you want to start us off here?
Gladly. And for thieves that are new to the show, Good Idea, Bad Idea is the segment of the show where Scott and I go through our Instagram, our Facebook, our everything feeds and bring all of the interesting products that we've seen and answer the critical question, is this a good idea or a bad idea?
Does it
Scott,
rock or does it suck?
So Scott, I'll go first with ColorCast. You remember I sent you this earlier in the week because I thought you would be really interested. That's Color, COLOR, cast, CA.ST. And ColorCast is an app for kind of do-it-yourself live sports commentating and announcing.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially users download the app and they sync it with people that are commenting different games or commentating different games. And yeah, this is an idea that we have kind of talked about on the podcast because Scott and I wish there was an easy way for us to overlay our director's cut commentary on movies. They have done it, but for live sports.
This is fascinating. I almost want to, I think I'm going to sign up to recommend myself as a caster just to see if I can make it on. Even though I'm not great at sports commentary, maybe I could, do a funny version of it.
I will say I played around with the app as a user before the show, and I also have no interest in sports commentating or listening to it. But the app was slick. Really, really slick app. Yeah, great interface for syncing with a game. It's pretty awesome.
What's the pricing structure on this?
So as far as I can tell, and this is what I was curious about, is if it would be free for me as a listener. And it was free. So I assume, I have no idea how Colorcast will make money. I really don't.
Zach, what's your thought on this? Have you ever experienced anything like this before? Is this
I'm not like a huge sports guy. I used to be much bigger into sports. And I will say though, I feel like one of the reasons I stopped watching sports is the commentators I don't feel like they're very good. They're actually really bad a lot of the times. And I have noticed that there is a big trend on YouTube where people will just you can't actually obviously watch the game on their YouTube channel because they would get taken down, but they're just commenting on the game.
Right.
And so I actually feel like this is probably going off of a pretty a potentially an emerging trend right now of it's kind of like the sports betting. There's a trend of I don't even know what you would call that category, but there's democratization up in my quotes because I hate that word of sports basically.
Yeah, I think it is true. The trend right now is everybody offers sports analysis, particularly just around sports betting, which is growing hugely in popularity. And people want to hear people analyze sports, and this is just kind of fits into that. I didn't know that it was on YouTube, but that seems also a great format.
I want to contact these people and say, please, let's don't stop at sports. Reality TV, I want all of it. I want want somebody commenting as I'm watching The Mandalorian, just a really interesting person or whatever. Colorcast. Wow. Yeah. We'll have to do an in-depth on that one. That's a real sweet idea, I think.
Yeah. I think if you like sports and you like watching sports and you like sports analysis, try this app and let us know what you think. idea@ghosttothisidea.com.
Yeah. I got one here for you, Andre. This is roomcloudshop.com. I've seen this ad a couple times. It seems like the kind of thing that I'm not totally sure who this is for. So basically what it is, if you go to roomcloudshop.com, it is kind of a big, puffy, cottony looking cloud that you would hang in your house. There's a bunch of colorful kind of LEDs in it. So it kind of looks like it's a storm or a kind of a funky, just like any RGB type thing, you can kind of program it with a bunch of different things. There's a part of me that's as a parent, this could be a fun thing, but it doesn't seem like it's marketed towards parents. It seems like it's marketed towards single people or people trying to spruce up their man cave or something. I don't know. What do you think about this?
So I did originally see this concept on TikTok and was fascinated by it. The idea that you could hang a storm cloud up and it would make lightning noises and flash. It seemed like a kind of cool, maybe not cool, but something for my office. And I still kind of do think that. That being said, the DIY ones that I saw on TikTok looked a lot cooler than this.
Oh, interesting.
$99 one. So
that's what I was gonna say. Is it cool? But is it $100 cool?
I mean, I think $100 is right. I just think.
Yeah, I guess a smart light, because that's essentially what this is. It's like a Philips Hue inside of a cotton ball.
Yeah, I'm just not that impressed by this particular design. It just doesn't look as good as what I have seen.
Zach, what are your thoughts on this?
Cool or not cool?
Not cool. This, first of all, it's not apparent who their target market is, besides for maybe Gen Z ravers, is my guess. Yeah. That's what I saw. That's what I thought when I saw this. But this seems like a novelty, and maybe someone saw it on TikTok. It's I'm going to make a business out of this. That's what this seems like.
What I think would be a smarter play, again, coming from I have 3 very young kids, is actually leaning into not just clouds, but like a sun and a moon and like stars or whatever, and selling it more like a kid's room fun light fixture where like you could kind of like make a fun little sky. Like that to me is like, oh, that would be like kind of fun to have. But like, I don't know if like just clouds is like quite it. But like if it was like a night light that also like played sounds, and then that was a little more interactive. If it was maybe a little bit more expensive, like I think that might be a better play than like ravers. But
yeah, I do appreciate how they have a registered trademark on Room Cloud though. So they're going strong after their IP.
The Room Cloud, love it. What's this other one here, Andre?
So Feel Opus. feelopus.com. This is another of 100 different sleep relaxation gadgets that we've talked about, but this is probably the biggest one yet.
What is this?
Yeah, their primary product is the Opus Sound Bed, which is a big kind of geometric looking bed that you lay on and you put headphones on and you meditate. Ooh. They say they have immersive sound healing.
Now, Andre, I know when you say bed, listeners are probably thinking like, oh, like a regular twin size bed. No. This is the most unusual bed I think I've ever seen. So I have a nugget couch. If anybody knows what that is, there's like these little triangle foam wedges. Imagine 6 of those in a line, and then like a small pad on top. I don't know why it's designed this way. Fascinating thing.
So I will say what's cool about the kind of geometric design is that it rolls up really easily into like kind of a little ottoman looking thing. The concept, however, I mean, so the bed itself doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of a platform to lay on and then put your headphones on and listen through their kind of guided meditation tour. I also, if I remember right, I had experimented with the pricing. I think it was like $1,500.
Seems a little steep.
Seems a little.
I also love that. My favorite thing about websites is the 3 value props. So value prop 1, proven healing practices. I don't know what that. I mean,
not sure even what the healing practices are.
Revolutionary technology. Again,
unclear.
And then try Opus at home. Okay.
Good. I would hope if I buy this, I can use it at home.
It says shift how you feel in as little as 7 minutes. That's true about literally everything. Also, you could take a bite out of a jalapeno and within 7 minutes shift how you feel. So I don't.
You're out on Opus.
I'm out big time. This website seems like kind of a little too weird to me. And also it has one of my least favorite things. And Zach, if your website has this and I'm dogging on you, I'm sorry. But the so-and-so just purchased this.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know why it annoys me so much. It just feels so fake to me.
Yeah.
That like, Scott and Morrison just reserved a sound bed. It's like, come on.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $1,300.
Is there anything good that you would take from this?
I will say again, I like the design of the mat that folds up like that. I think if you could stabilize it and make it like a guest bed, that you.
I almost think it's a better idea for like an office nap room type thing where you could like roll
also
up in the corner, and then it's like, oh, like I want to take a nap. You just unfold it, off a little bit, and then it could be like a hot desk and a nap room area. That might be an okay.
But
Zach,
not for
$1,300.
I read something the other day, and it was talking about marketing, and it said, "Be clear, not clever." And I don't think I've ever felt more strongly about that statement than when I look at this website, because I have no idea what okay, so they've got their Opus trademark. Going back, they have immersive sound healing. They have a trademark there. I like the Room Cloud trademark better because it was more clear on what it was. I don't know what immersive sound healing is, and nothing on the website tells you, and you have to like click 5 or 6 times to see a price, which is very frustrating.
Yeah.
Feels like a scam. You say sound healing, I say no.
It could be.
Well, this last one really quickly, and then we'll move on. If you click this on-slice.com, and Zach gets in the chat there if you see the link. But the Mecha Owl sunglasses, I got an ad for this, and I just thought, Is this now in fashion, like cyberpunk kind of, sunglasses? Like, am I removed from fashion, or like, is this cool? Like, I know, Andre, you're a little bit younger than me. Like, is this cool, or is this have we reached a point where we're like trying to get so flamboyant out there that it's like not cool?
I don't
This is
feel
cool.
like. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't feel like they look cyberpunk. I don't think that's
the word
vibe.
you're looking for is steampunk.
Yes,
Steampunk,
also
yes.
steampunk.
I think, yeah.
And I wish that what I don't like about these product pages though is they don't have any on face pictures. So I'm
Just
trying to
in
find.
pocket.
Yeah,
The
it's
ones,
like, I gotta
the ad
see
that
it
I
on
saw, I
face.
think the ad that I saw was for the orange lensed one, which maybe that was what I think the black ones actually don't look as bad, but the red gold ones are the ones that I got the ad for on Instagram. I was like, man, this is like,
I like these.
a very loud personality, I think, to pull this off. But
I
maybe
don't
not.
think I think you could.
You think I could rock them?
I think no, I don't think you could, but that's because
Okay, well,
your outfit is generally just kind of daddish.
That hurts
So
my
I don't know
feelings,
that it
but-
would fit, but I think that a lot of people could pull this off without needing to be like
I mean,
Kanye.
Zach could pull it off, obviously.
So I will say I was down by the beach this weekend, and I just moved back to San Diego, and like the style of how like Gen Z, like the 80s are back and the
Dude,
70s are full on
this
back,
fits.
and these are in style right now.
Yeah, the huge sunglasses that like take up your whole face, like the
Yeah.
old racing glasses.
I think
that-
they look
Yeah.
classy. I think it's a look.
Okay,
Yeah,
well we'll
they are.
let the thief. We'll do a Twitter poll for the thieves. You let
On-slice.com.
yeah the Mecha Owl sunglasses. Are they awesome? Are they not awesome? Let us. Sounds like you guys are both in. I'm still undecided. All right, let's move on. Zach, tell us a little bit more about your coffee company. The Thieves. Is this just another Folgers company, or is it something different?
Yeah, super good question. So at Wildland Coffee, we pack really tasty coffee. So the opposite of Folgers, as a matter of fact, real ground coffee into tea bags. And really our target market is the camping and outdoor community, because traditionally you'd have to bring a French press or an AeroPress or some other coffee contraption when you're, out camping or backpacking, hiking, whatever. And those are just not super convenient methods of making coffee. So we pack really good coffee into tea bags. So really wherever you are, you just heat up some water and you steep your coffee, and you have an amazing cup of coffee in about 5 or 6 minutes.
That is
Interesting.
awesome. Scott's
And-
not a coffee
and-
drinker. I am a coffee drinker. I am not a camper, but I did just recently, and this is maybe a bonus idea for you. I just recently bought a water cooler from Sam's Club, like that you would have in an office. And what I love about it is the water's tasty and it keeps water cold, and it has instant hot water now. So I'm more interested than ever in
Oh.
drinking more coffee, and this
Yeah.
seems like that would fit that.
Is the form factor in the tea bag, is that mainly for just like convenience for camping, or is there like any other, like, does it steeping it that way, it has other benefits or anything like that? Is there,
I mean, it's really a convenience factor. That's like the main value
Main
proposition.
take coffee anywhere, you can put it in your pocket.
Exactly. I guess like a side benefit is you can control how long you steep it for. So if you like your coffee a little milder
Less
or
intense.
not as strong, less intense, you just don't steep it for as long. Or if you want to keep it going, you just keep it going. So there is quite a bit more control over other methods.
And is there? I imagine you have like a couple flavors. Like, is there one that you're like, this is my go-to, or is it just like traditional black?
Yeah. So right now I just have a medium roast, and so coffee, there's light, medium, dark, and then you get like a French roast or like espresso, which is really dark. And right now I'm just doing medium roast, and really that's a function of wanting to control my costs as I'm launching the company. I've launched a couple companies in the past. I would never say I wasted money. I would say I spent $40,000 on a business and learned a lot of lessons. And one of the lessons that I learned was don't get too deep too quickly until you've like really learned your target market and your messaging, and until you have product market fit.
You hear that, thieves? So this is episode, I think like 86 or 87, and generally have like one big idea for people to steal. So if anyone's thinking to steal one of these ideas, before you just chuck 40 grand in it, just make sure that it's,
do a little testing.
I mean, we know that it's worth. I mean, we know that these ideas are rock solid, but learn from the wisdom of Zach, and don't dive in until you're ready.
Yeah. So the first business I started was similar, the same format. So I restarted another company, and up until this same point, I think I had spent like $15,000, maybe $16,000, and up to this point, I've spent, I don't know, 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
So really like dialed it back on the spending, and I've acquired way more customers up until this point than I had with the last one.
I think that's an awesome lesson for people thinking like, to start a business is like crazy expensive. I don't know if I can do it. It's like, no, like with research and time and, a good idea and a good take, like you don't have to, break the bank to like go out and be an entrepreneur, which is cool.
And thieves that are listening for the first time, I would say for the majority of our like biggest and best ideas, we present this kind of big, audacious, here's how you could have something amazing, but then walk it into a prototype or here's how to start and here's how to test for product market fit. And like, that's just a great lesson.
Yeah, that's really the key, whether it's, I can talk about how I did it cheaply compared to last time, but for anyone who's starting a business, it's how do I get like the most MVP product off the ground, even if it's like terrible and it's not scalable and it's ugly. Like, how do you go acquire a customer, or how do you just go get feedback on your idea so that you can have the confidence to go put some money into it? Or depending on the idea, depending on like the situation, maybe you go raise some money. You don't even have to spend any of your own money. That's also nice as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Well, that is wildlandcoffee.co. Wildlandcoffee.co. Thieves, go give Zach a look if you want to
give him a look, get some coffee, try it out. Yeah, we I'm convinced. Yeah, I bet we have a fair amount of listeners who are campers. So I think
definitely we do.
I think this is actually a good place to plug that. Now, speaking of ideas, now you obviously have a good niche in coffee, right? But maybe you've had some other ideas that maybe too audacious, or maybe you just didn't have the time, or maybe they're a little bit half baked. Let's talk about some of those ideas, Zach.
All right. So as an entrepreneur, I'm always thinking about like, what's a cool business to start? And it always comes from like a problem that I'm frustrated with. So here's like a few things that I've been frustrated with that I would love if someone would go solve these problems for me.
Yes.
So, and this is in like no particular order. So the first one is parking. Parking is very frustrating, especially like in San Diego or big cities. And you've kind of solved that parking problem with like Uber, depending on what your situation is. Or there's like commercial lots, but those are like, they kind of gouge you, honestly. And a couple of weeks ago, I was walking around Ocean Beach in San Diego, and I'm looking for parking, and I'm driving past all these people's driveways. I'm like,
oh, do we have the solution for you?
Well,
do we have the solution for you? Oh my gosh.
I've seen, like, I know there are companies where you can reserve a spot in a commercial lot. I've never seen a company where you can go in someone el's.
Yes.
And maybe they exist. Okay, maybe they exist, but like,
we pitched a really similar idea, probably 15 ideas. 15
a long time ago. And was it your idea, Scott?
Yeah.
It wasn't a guess.
Mine stemmed more from parking outside of sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
You walk to a jazz game or
exactly.
A college football game. You're like, there's 100 houses.
Driveways everywhere.
Yes. Just
curb parking everywhere.
I'll pay you $15 for your freaking driveway.
Exactly.
So we thought that we called it Park Shark, and basically you put up your driveway for an amount and you compete with regular parking or whatever, and like people can reserve it for 24 hours, and it's such a clear and obvious pain point that everyone experiences. It's insane that no one.
Why hasn't someone done this?
Insane. It is insane.
I actually put this out. Go.
I was going to say, no, beach parking is another one of those things where you're like looking for, in California or whatever, it's like, oh, I got to go drive far away from the beach just to like find somewhere to park. But this old person,
even though I'm passing driveway after driveway after garage after garage, it's insane.
It's crazy. I actually put this on LinkedIn, and someone said that like Neighbor, a Utah company, I'm sure you guys know Neighbor, would be like very uniquely positioned to actually do this idea, which I think they really would be, except for it's like not really their it's not really their niche.
And I was powered by Neighbor.
Yeah. And I was thinking like why wouldn't someone do this? It's like, well, I mean, there's probably some issues with, well, what if like the person stays in the like the parking space too long, and it is probably like, how much are you really going to pay? Like, are you going to be having a bunch of like $5 transactions? Potentially. I mean, there's like some obvious issues, but like people had issues, like don't get in strangers' cars. And now that's all we do.
I mean,
so
honestly though, like that is like the best example of just like 15 years ago, it's like, hey, would you just like get in some stranger's car to take you somewhere? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And now it's like, obviously you would.
Yeah. Or sleeping in someone's house. Like, no, I would never do that. It's like, of course I'll sleep in someone's house now.
And honestly, like I love problems like that, because with these kind of like marketplace ideas, when we present them on the show, the fear is always like, if people understand or recognize the value of their asset, then they'll just go off your marketplace and sell it on their own, right? So it's like basically the alternative to park share, because you put a sign in your driveway that says $5 parking or whatever. But exactly those problems of what if somebody like doesn't come back or they stay too long is why you go through this app, because this app says, for the $250 or however much they're charging per transaction, that's what covers you if somebody stays too long. We'll tow their car, or if somebody stays too long, we'll bill them extra. We have their credit card. That's why you use a marketplace. That's why you use this app. Yep. That's why you pay this transaction fee. So
you put your card on file. You overstay your welcome. You see what happens.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was reading, I don't remember, it was like a Harvard Business Review, like some article about marketplaces and like why some succeed and why some don't. And really the whole thing centered around, could the person leave the marketplace? And that's why like Uber and Lyft, you can't leave the marketplace because you've got insurance, you've got tracking, you've got like all these things, right? And I mean, I wouldn't get into someone's car without Uber.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing it.
Of course not.
And with this, it's like there's enough downside to not being on the marketplace. Whereas, like at one point, I wanted to start a website for to learn different skills. But the problem is like you meet someone who's going to teach you to like ski or snowboard. Okay, I don't need it anymore. So then like the marketplace sucks. But this is like you need the marketplace.
Totally. Yeah, and we talked about on the episode, you start there, right? It'd be a really easy thing to roll out in a college town in like one central area where you kind of grow it out or whatever. But I think eventually we talked about there are lots of like banks and places, like commercial space that like
on the weekends
where it's like no one's there, you're not allowed to park there. But if you brokered a deal where it's like, hey, we'll give you half the revenue if you let people park here under Park Shark or whatever.
Yeah. And it's this company that's big enough because I'm sure that lots like that get approached by people that are like, let us sell your parking on game day. But it's like a company that's big enough to guarantee, that slots. You get guarantee that slots will sell and guarantee that the cars will be gone on Monday. These are important things.
Yeah. There's lots of empty parking garages downtown, unfortunately. Rent this out, man.
The other really unique thing about this idea is, in many ways, the customer acquisition's free because you're just driving past and everyone's frustrated. So every person that uses or that has a spot, you just have like a little sign. It's like park here for $10. And I mean, I would stop and be like, okay, like what is this thing? So
scan the QR code.
Scan the QR code and boom, like I have my parking. So you don't need to spend as much money on advertising because people are like looking for the solution when you provide it to them, as opposed to other things where it's like you kind of have to like meet someone like, on Instagram with like an ad or whatever to actually acquire the customer.
Exactly. And I think the DoorDash play of like, hey, your first meal's on us. It's like having your first parking spot covered. It's like, this is sweet. Like,
and then you have the app and you check the app and everything changes.
Yeah.
You guys are ahead of me.
Did you want to talk about some more ideas? You want to hop into we have some stuff in the mailbag. I mean, it kind of depends on if more
All right.
tank there.
I have one more that I would
Perfect.
love someone to solve for
it.
me. And some people, like Instacart's kind of solved this, but I think there's a big opportunity for a grocery store that you don't walk into. Because for the most part, and I've had a lot of people like disagree with me on this, but I think this is like an Uber thing where I think people think they like grocery shopping, but if they couldn't, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. Imagine if there's a grocery store where you just like went there and like your stuff was just ready for you. I think that grocery store could reduce costs. They could do some like really cool things with like a digital experience, and they could still have like a little store of like new products, so you could try like some new things and discover products. But I think the way that grocery stores are laid out is kind of antiquated, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had an idea that was in the same vein as this, where basically I would be willing to wager that if you took the sum amount of goods that came out of a grocery store, probably a good percentage of them are the same kinds of things. It's bread, it's milk, it's eggs, it's cereal, right? There's a lot of stuff that people are often buying. And then there's everything else that they sometimes buy. I think you could take the kind of the drive-through coffee kiosk shack and you basically say, hey, like, you could either pre-order or you just like drive through and you say, hey, I need milk, eggs, cheese, an onion, and what produce you have. Oh yeah, give me some apples too. Great. I could just really quickly pick up like the essentials and then come back home and not have to go to the grocery store. And then if I need rotini or something, obviously I'm going to go, I can do, pick up or whatever. But like, I find myself having to like refill on a bunch of stuff and then sometimes needing more specific ingredients. So if I could just really quickly load up on eggs, load up on milk, load up on basic produce, onions and things like that, that would be, and it would be really easy for them to just like have a little truck that goes back and forth refilling their stuff. Yeah. I mean, it could be like a little mini Smith's or Albertsons or Safeway or whatever, or you just like have a deal with them. Like, I think that service like that could work.
I'd say until the pandemic, I had never tried like order for pickup groceries. But now, since the pandemic, I've done it several times. So basically, I go to Harmon's, I get on the Harmon's website. They have a fine online shopping experience. I select everything that I need. I totally agree that the concept of actually shopping in the grocery store, I don't need it all. And I think a lot of people in my generation don't need it all or have any desire to do it. The other thing that's unique about groceries to me is it's probably more than anything else, like the most cost sensitive marketplace, which is like people are just like very receptive to how much things cost at the grocery store. Like, what's cheaper where, all these different things. It's the reason why Sam's Club and Costco are really successful is they're really just trimming like dollars and cents off of the price of groceries per unit, right? So the idea of being able to say there is no inside, there is no like come in and shop experience. And because of that, it's one central freezer cooler, it's one central refrigerated cooler. We save all this money. It's obviously fewer staff. There's 100 different ways that it would be cheaper. And because of that, like all of that is just savings in your pocket. And we're able to dynamically change what we're carrying all the time. We're able to send things to different places where it's more popular. I think there's a really good idea here. And it'd be just really interesting to see how the margins change if you can change all those variables. And then obviously like a really great web or ad experience to just like seal the deal. Yes.
I mean, I still like will go into a grocery store like if necessary, but I use Instacart like religiously, and it's either delivery or like with Sprouts, you can go there and then the Sprout person will bring the groceries to my car, which is amazing. It just seems like there's so much like inefficiency going on with grocery stores that there's like a lot of waste that I feel like needs to be addressed. So
no doubt. Yeah,
you can see it at every level at the grocery store. It's waste everywhere.
And I do think we've talked about ideas like reimagining the dishwasher. These like really antiquated. It's been the same for 100 years. I think the grocery store is kind of like that, where it's just like we are in a different generation.
Aisles and food,
it's like there's got to be a better way to do a lot of this stuff. Cool. Well, I want to hop into the mailbag really quick. There's a couple ideas in the mailbag as well as I want to give some shout outs. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Dan Muse. So Dan Muse is a thief who apparently he reached out to our Instagram and he sent me reddit.com/steal this idea, which is not a subreddit that we started. It's a subreddit I think that he started, and hopped on there and there's, 50 or 60 patrons, and he discusses ideas. And it was like, awesome, man. Like that was like a cool,
it was a fun weekend surprise for Scott and I.
Yeah. It's always nice to hear from the fans, especially like something like that, like a cool community gesture or whatever. So if you're on Reddit /steal this idea, check him out. Shout out to Dan. He is a real rock star. I also want to shout out to Lil Spoonchi. So Lil Spoonchi, not the rapper. We've interacted. He's reached out a few times, I think, in the past. He reached out with a kind of a random, funny little anecdote. If you've listened to the show for a long time, when me and Andre, we talk about good idea, bad ideas, we often joke about how people will try and slide in different ways to say that, like, the FDA, instead of saying FDA approved, they'll be like evaluated by the FDA or reviewed by scientists or something like that, where it's like, well, is it approved or is it not? And they kind of dance around it. Anyway, he said that the other day his grandma said that she wanted to go to this neurologist appointment. And so he took his grandma there, and it ended up being this like really kind of sketchy wellness center where they were like trying to like sell her stuff and like upsell her. Anyway, he said the words FDA cleared, and he
knew.
Nope.
Those are weasel words.
These are weasel words. And so he's like, yeah, thanks for the podcast. I saved my grandma lots of trouble and money. I thought it was awesome. Really funny. So Lil Spoonchi, shout out. And then I got to give one last shout out here to James English. James English kind of gets a little bit of a raw deal sometimes. He's been a listener for a long time. He would love to be a guest on the show. He'd love to co-host the show. And, he'll often tell me ideas. I'll forget about it. I've been a bad friend to James, but he is a loyal listener and he has some great ideas. Anyway, he sent an email with a couple ideas. Wanted to run it by you, see what you guys thought. The first one here is a s'mores-only restaurant designed for big cities where you can't go out and enjoy that taste of your childhood. You can have a variety of cookies and marshmallows and candies, gas-powered fire pits at every table, sell hot chocolate, possibly cocktails. What about s'mores? What do you guys think?
I recently paid Thieves for Christmas this last summer, or last summer. This Christmas this last winter. Me and my friends did this like s'mores experience thing. It was several $100s, and basically what James English describes here, which is like there's a fire pit and cocktails, and it was in this very nice area. Ultimately, though, the conclusion was we were like, s'mores are actually not that good. They vaguely are nostalgic in a way, but certainly not to the degree for which we paid for them. So I'm currently out on s'mores, like way, way out on s'mores. But I think that this idea could fit at any restaurant. Could add a s'mores offering and see how it sticks for their patio.
It seems like kind of I feel like I saw a YouTube or some clip on some Fortune or whatever about like kind of a rise in dry bars in.
That's a big thing right now.
Big.
This feels like kind of in the same vein where it's like, hey, come with your work colleagues and like make some s'mores and like just chat and maybe get some drinks or whatever. Like kind of not a bar, but a bar-like experience where it's like in my mind, I would do, like kind of big community fire pits. You could just kind of sit around. It's like a fun, almost like a jazz. You could have music or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it could maybe work.
I think like anyone with a patio can add a s'mores offering to your menu. I don't think you need to be a s'mores restaurant. That's kind of where I'm at.
It seems a little nichey, but nostalgia is a real thing, and people pay a lot of money for the nostalgia factor. And I also think that there is something about like sitting around a fire and like not having your devices. So I think if you could turn something like this into like you can't bring your device in here, like something like that. Like then I think there's like some like really interesting. There's like a legitimately interesting experience. But like s'mores alone,
Maybe you need something else.
Maybe not quite fleshed out enough.
So the second idea here is definitely more of a stretch, but I think it's funny. This is from his son, Preston. He says a restaurant that is on the other side of a restaurant where you pay a flat amount, and the dinner that you get are the meals that were prepared incorrectly, and they're sent to the other side of the restaurant. So you might get a slightly over or undercooked steak, a pizza with the wrong toppings. So you're going in and basically saying, like, you pay $5 just to get in, and you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know when you're going to get it. But you might get like something awesome, and it's a way for the business to like kind of recoup some of their cost. What do you guys think of this?
This is amazing.
Is it a whole business?
No.
But what if you could go to any restaurant and just be like, there's a menu item that's, I don't know, 30% cheaper than the average entree. And it's like, order this and you're just going to get something that was sent back. The majority of the time that's going to be like an underdone or overdone steak or a sandwich with something on it that shouldn't be. And it's like most people would probably be like pretty, or would know themselves and know that they're not picky and will eat anything.
With the hair on the side of the bowl. Sure.
Yeah.
The price is right.
I think like upcycling food is a really good idea. I think that's like a noble thing. If a restaurant has that many sent back items that they can fund another restaurant, they're probably not
That's a service
going to be
problem.
in business for very long.
I wonder if you could do like almost like a food bank type thing where it's like you have the restaurant here and then like a food bank kind of
out back.
Side,
yeah, that's
where it's like,
better idea.
We're also all under the assumption that the food that gets sent back doesn't get reused in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like if they send back the soup because it's got hair, they probably take the hair out, put it back in the soup, and then they're serving it. So shout out to Preston.
Shout out to James. By the way, James, if you guys are curious, James also has a side hustle. He's from England, and he has a side business called Bacon Brits, and he sells bacon like by the pound. And I kid you not, I'm not even just saying this because he's my friend. It might be the best bacon I've ever had.
Really?
He cures it for like 2 weeks. He puts in all these awesome flavors. I think he's just on Instagram right now, Bacon Brits. But
Bacon Brits Utah on Instagram. Bacon Brits Utah. And it does look amazing. Bacon by the pound.
He brought in some. He put it in the air fryer at work, and it passed around. I was just like, oh my goodness, just like melt in your mouth, just perfectly the right amount of crisp. Anyway, so good.
Artisanal bacon. Flavor's always changing. Check it out.
He does he does all sorts of fun stuff. Anyway. Well, that's going to do it. Zach, anything you want to plug here at the end of the episode? Anywhere you want the thieves to go? I mean, the website, do you want them to check you out on Instagram? Do you have a side band that you want to plug or anything?
A DJ business?
No band. I'm all out of side hustles at this point. I'm tapped out. So no, I really appreciate the time, and I hope a lot of thieves can execute on the parking idea or the grocery store idea. That would be awesome.
Or the upcycling food idea.
Or the upcycling food idea.
That's our other big landmark idea.
Yeah. Andre, where can new thieves catch us, reach out to us, support us?
There are so many places. First, you can always send us an email with any of your thoughts on this episode. That's idea@gostealthisidea.com. You can find Scott and I individually on Twitter @ScottTheAmazing and @AndreWatch0. You can find Steal This Idea on Instagram and Twitter @StealThisIdea. You can go to our website, www.stealthisidea.com, where you can find links to all of that good stuff, including our Spotify and Apple page, where you can rate us 5 stars. If you really love the podcast, you can go one step further and support us on Patreon. Patreon is a site that allows listeners like you to contribute to podcasts like ours, to help us produce content like this.
$1 a month, couple bucks a month. We have a back catalog of kind of off the record episodes, where we talk a little more about our personal life. We have kind of fun bits we do kind of that aren't just business ideas. So if you're interested in learning a little more about me and Andre and you want to support the show, chip in on Patreon. We do some fun stuff there. So yeah, Zach, it's been awesome having you, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Zach.
Some good stuff. Definitely, thieves, check out the coffee there. We'll put some links in the description below. I think that's going to do it. Thieves, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Use Scipio, the #1 engagement tool for sales teams that want more responses, appointments, and conversations. Message your leads and customers where they are on their phone. I'm not talking about phone calls. We're talking about true one-to-one texting. Use the code STEAL at Scipio.com for 2 free licenses. Use the code STEAL at Scipio.com for 2 free licenses. See you later, thieves.